I, hand on heart, thought Crash Bandicoot was a better looking video game than Super Mario 64. I just felt that Crash Bandicoot had far more character and far more charm than Super Mario 64. I will die on this hill. Crash Bandicoot 1 is a better platformer than Super Mario 64. Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 128 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that's going against the popular opinion. I'm your host as always, Mr. Lova Lova, and with me is my co-host.
128 episodes.
I know.
Are we old enough for a bus pass at this point?
No. No, maybe you are. We certainly not, mate.
Hello, lover. How are we doing? It's me, as always, Tomahawk.
I'm very well, Tomahawk, mate. Yeah, it's later than usual, so I'm feeling it a wee bit tonight. I'm also not going to lie. I'm feeling a bit nervous this week because of
the topic at hand and the discourse we have caused on the internet a little bit. Do you know what, though? It's one of those moments where the stars align and it's as good a topic as anything today. Like, we're into our side quest, and this is a nice, easy one to kind of push us into this next 3 months of podcasting.
Yeah. Which is a lovely segue into explaining what we are and what we do here at High Scores, High Stakes, Tomahawk. If we are in season, which ended last week, make sure you catch up on season 5. We are a competitive PlayStation podcast where myself, Tomahawk, and our third host, Cardinal Smith, compete against one another in a PlayStation Gaming Challenge League. If we could pick a game and play a challenge in that, the winner gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, third place gets 1 point. At the end of 12 weeks, whoever's top of the league wins the coveted High Scores, High Stakes Cup. I'm not going to tell you who the current champion is because the season finale is still fairly fresh at time of record.
And this may be your first episode and you may want to go back. So
I'm not going to tell you who our current champion is, but make sure you catch up on season 5. Whilst we're off season though, whilst we prep for season 6, can you believe that? Season 6, Tomahawk, crazy.
We are getting old.
For season 6, we go into our side quests, is where we talk about everything PlayStation, everything gaming. And if this is your 128th time of listening to us, what are you doing? Or your first time, make sure whatever you're listening or watching this on, make sure you give us a star rating, 1 to 5, whatever you think we're worth, that's what we get. If you want to share the podcast with a family member or a friend who you think will enjoy it, that is much appreciated. And if you want to give us a written review, the algorithm absolutely loves it. If 1 hour-ish a week isn't enough High Scores, High Stakes content to get you through your week, by your browser at highscoreshighstakes.com, and there you can find all the handy links to find us everywhere. We are all over the internet. That is highscoreshighstakes.com. So let's talk about Tomahawk. Before we get into what we're playing, let's talk about the topic of side quest. What, I don't even know what this is anymore.
Before we do that, I want to do just a little plug on what's going on Twitter. If people who are listening still use Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, go to Underground Promotions on said profile and vote for us for Content Creator of the Month, because it would be bloody good if you could.
It would be awesome. I feel as though that poll will have run by the time this episode releases, but here, if nothing else, Underground Promotions, you're welcome. Yes,
that's it. Extra, more synergy, more cross promotion, all that kind of stuff. But if it is still active, go check them out and give us a revote. There's some great podcasts on that then, and I think just even to be in that same conversation, it's been quite a nice experience.
It has been getting through round number 1 on our first time of asking as well. It's the first time we've ever polled, first time we've got through round 1. Let's go, let's win the whole thing first time, like some sort of crazy Champions League run from some minnow club.
This is like the Quarabag. Yeah.
Like Jose Mourinho's Porto in 2004. But yes, let's talk about the topic of tonight, what we're talking about in this side quest, Tomahawk. And we have, I say we, you.
I'm going to take full responsibility for this one. So I, being in charge of like our social media, do like a couple of clips from highlighted parts of our segments in the series. I made an innocuous comment, and I thought it would be good synergy as a certain game had been released. It was Hollow Knight. If anyone who doesn't know, I made a comment about Hollow Knight, and I said that I didn't quite like it, didn't vibe with it, and I would go as far as to say that it was a poorly constructed game. Correct?
I would agree with all the words in which you have said, and I, to an extent, I agreed with you that there are aspects of Hollow Knight that stop me from enjoying it, and to be frank, stop me from playing it. However,
So
you
I took that
shared
clip,
said clip.
ran it on all of our social platforms, and needless to say, for the last 2 weeks, I would say we've been fighting off comments from, I'm going to call them the unwashed, just because of some of the comments I thought were a bit harsh.
I mean, a lot of the comments were a bit harsh, to be fair. Now, let's be honest here. You incurred the wrath
I did.
of the Hollow Knight fandom, and they are not a fandom to be taken lightly if the comments are anything to go by.
They don't like to be told that their beloved game that takes 7 years to produce a sequel is bad. God forbid.
Yeah, it's a perfect game, which has absolutely nothing wrong. And if you don't like Hollow Knight, you cannot read, is what I have taken from our exchanges on the internet. What a great community.
So good. I sometimes think that like the internet wrestling community can be bad. I think just like the TikTok community and that, I don't know, it's just a niche of games, people who defend their game. So I don't know, when they defend it without knowing all the facts or without knowing everything that kind of what goes around it and what builds a good game. My favorite comment was the person who told us to just go and play the Wii because that seems like it's more our speed. So
I love that. If you can't win by rebutting a point, personal insults. Why not? Why not?
That's it.
Welcome to the internet, folks. But yes, we thought, I don't know about you, Tomahawk. I find the whole exchange rather funny. And we have been in discussions, and we thought, why stop at the Hollow Knight community? Let's piss off every community we can think of by going through universally loved games that we do not love. In fact, these are games we do not like. We do not like these, despite the universal praise that they seemingly get everywhere all the time. We're going to talk
untouchable. These are like the untouchable games that seem to have this like gold standard that can't be a bad thing said about them. And the Hollow Knight thing is a really funny thing because we put that out, and there was a 1%, 2% of our audience that did go, I actually fully agree with you. I stand by what you say. I think and then I think someone called us brave by basically like standing our ground and saying, no, these things don't work in this game and this is why it's not a great game. I do plan to do a Hollow Knight series, potentially to like 30 streams to like Hollow Knight. Let's see how that goes.
Fair play. I've started playing it. I did take this stance that I was never going to play it again because I just felt the community that were in that video on the comment section was pretty toxic.
Ruthless.
Don't appreciate that sort of community, but I was like, don't know what? I think I played this for a couple of hours way back when. Let's give it a second chance. I'll give it a second chance. The third area, stand by everything you said about the map. The map system's atrocious. The game's all right. It's all right. I still think Ori and the Blind Forest is a better Metroidvania. In fact, I'll go as far as saying that Guacamelee is a better Metroidvania. It's more fun. It makes more sense.
I'm not going to be allowed to clip this one. We're going to be absolutely destroyed.
But we're not going to stop at the
we're not
Hollow
alone.
Knight.
Again, the point is we're not alone, and we're not going to stop at Hollow Knight. We're going to ruin every beloved franchise, every beloved series, every beloved individual title.
Yeah.
Because someone out there is going to share this opinion of this.
Yeah, so me and you have picked a few games or franchises that we are going to unearth our dislike from. Some may surprise you. My one's probably not going to surprise anybody, to be quite honest. But we also put the word out on social media. I also put a post up. This is what actually made me come up with this idea, was a post I put up on Reddit a month ago
About a
now,
month ago now,
apparently.
yeah.
Yeah. So there was a load of comments on that, some big hitters. So we'll make reference to listeners, and Redditors. I tried to merge those two together.
XG, read all about it.
So tonight's episode is going to be me and you airing our dirty laundry of the critically loved games that we hate. That is what we're going to do. But before we get into that, Tomahawk, tell me, what are you playing?
Blueprints. I can't stop.
Boring.
It's not, though. And I'm going to show you how... do you know the way you laughed and said have a notebook for Dino Crisis?
Yes.
For those who are watching the video, I've got pages and notes upon notes and cryptic puzzles and anagrams and even so much as to tracking how many days I've been in the mansion as to how many calendar days that appear in the map. And man, that game is so deep. And yes, you have to rely a little bit on the RNG to kind of get some of the, like, circle back on some puzzles. But I'm now at the point where it's like I could have gone to the shop on day 21 and day 22. I'm now 5 days past that, and it still is advertising a sale that happened 6 days ago, 7 days ago in game. I'm now looking at, I've drafted rooms where I can open a security box, but I have to know what date and time it is. So when I found a room that told me what calendar was day one, or like what date was day one in the mansion, it's so much going on. And I'm having much more fun getting the rooms built and learning how you can stack rooms and build rooms and combo them to kind of further your progression. Like I'm nowhere near room 46 proper, but I'm starting to like learn the first 20 hours. I was a bit naive and thinking the run will happen. Yeah. And then this one, as I'm like learning the process and I'm learning all the intricacies and the lore behind everything, I'm like, I could put another 50, 60 hours into this game and it will just feel fresh and different every time. But I was playing it earlier and I thought, this is the run. And I got to the door and then I blocked myself off because I got triple red roomed.
Nightmare. That would annoy me. That does annoy me. I tried Blueprints. I really did. I didn't care for it at all. It's just not my. It's not my type of game. It's not my type of game at all. It's
definitely one I think that would be in the overall Game of the Year conversation if the likes of Expedition never came out, if the likes of Silksong never came out, if the likes of it would be up there really.
I think it's between Silksong and Expedition, to be honest. I don't think maybe Death Stranding too, because Jeff Keighley's long-standing friendship with Hideo Kojima, but I doubt Death Stranding's going to win it. It'll be one of those two.
Yeah, Blueprints, I probably, if Early Doors would have been like a good like runner for it. It's a lovely indie game. Its art style is beautiful, and the game just is a gift that keeps on giving. Like there's rooms and puzzles and stuff that I'm like taking the time to solve now, and I'm like, well, I can now. And then it's learning how to backtrack efficiently without having to run out of steps and then have to restart the day. Then, so man, it's what it is doing is impeding my progress on double XP on Phasmo at the minute, though. That's the only
yeah, no, I didn't vibe with it. I can forgive a game a lot of things, but so much RNG, I just find it hard to
I get
take.
That.
You know what I mean? I've never liked roguelites. I don't think I'll ever like a roguelike. That's not me. But here, if you're enjoying it, fair play to you. That's what this is all about.
It was one of them ones then, because I was like, oh, it's Phasmo's like a time of release. Sorry, the event will have ended, but it's a double XP event for the 5-year anniversary. So I prestiged, and I'm just using the double XP now to grind through the prestige levels again, because you can do a perfect investigation and go up like 5 or 6 levels on a decent multiplier. So that's my plan. It was just to get the prestige badge and the achievement, and then now I'm like, I'm gonna just get my tier 3 equipment and crack on again. But man, going back to tier 1's a humbling experience.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, you forget how bad some of the stuff are. The thermometer in particular,
especially when you're having to like figure out, oh, these ghosts can roam, oh, these ghosts can move, oh, I forget that I'm playing 2 evidence, oh, the ghost spawned on top of me. The end. Like as long as you get the ghost right, you can still get a multiplier, but man, it's tier 1 stuff is a grind.
Yeah, man.
But that
Yeah,
being said, I got the weekly challenge done and got 10,000 XP and put me up like 18 levels. So it was a good start.
that's how you do it. That is how you do it. But yeah,
But
it's
that's it. That's all. The only two things I've been playing this week now, and they've occupied quite a lot of my free time now, as expected.
okay.
But this is the joy about not having like challenge games now. I can put more hours into games that I probably started early season competition.
Yeah, I have been playing Skate.
I
Skate
had fun watching you play Skate. It was quite
Skate's
good.
good. Skate is really good, actually. It plays really well. Early access, and it smacks of early access. Like, even in that, hour and a half stream last night, I had to hard reset once because it just wouldn't load in, which I'm presuming is a server
Must be.
capacity issue thing. But the second bug, which was really annoying, was mission markers not appearing
Yeah, I did notice that there was giving you like a waypoint of like 700 meters away, and you're like, no, but it's telling me I need to be
here.
in this one spot.
Yeah, and then the message on screen was hold down up to go to your mission marker, and you would hold up, and there was no mission marker, but it would bring you to where it should be, and the message wouldn't disappear on screen. So yeah, it's a bit of a technical mess, but it's early access, so we can forgive that. We will forgive that. The actual skateboarding in it is fantastic.
Yeah, it looked like you were having a lot of
Fantastic.
fun with it now, and the lobby just seems to be a lot of people just getting on with it
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just kind of enjoying the world, really. So it does look massive as well for
yeah. The
what
map's
the game is like.
The map is huge. San Vansterdam, I think the map is called. It's huge. There's a lot to do in it, and you can place items like ramps and rails and stuff wherever
Oh,
you
okay, so
want,
there's
and
like a
create your own
customizable element within the map then.
create your own skate park, basically. But no, this the skateboard in it is great. Is it like Skate 1, 2, and 3? Yes, but also no. um,
This one has a sense of more grounded, I must admit, from all the other skate clips that I've seen, and it has an air of silly to it, definitely.
yeah, Skate was a weird one. Skate 1 was real. My memory of Skate 1 was it was super hardcore, like proper real. Skate 2 was a bit more ridiculous. I can't remember what the setup for 2 was, but I want to say 2 starts with you having an accident and getting picked up in an ambulance, being drove to a hospital in the ambulance and being worked on, and that's the setup. And then you just wake up, you're outside the hospital, and then you're like, here you are. If I was at Skate 3, it was one of the two, but the setups for these things were always really weird. But they lent into the absurd by Skate 3, and it turned me off. Skate 3, I didn't like Skate 3 as much as I like Skate 2. I think Skate 2 is still peak. But this game it obviously takes from Skate history,
Yeah, yeah.
but to me, it also feels like it's been heavily inspired by like Skater XL and Session,
Okay.
because it feels very much like them, but not as hardcore realistic. It's a lot more fun than either of those two games, and it's just as satisfying. I think I'm really enjoying it, and I've only played about 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours of it. I really like it. I don't. I've read a lot on the internet about the graphics being ugly. It is not an ugly game.
No, no,
It is a
by all means, it's
strange, like looking game. I don't think the character models mesh very well with the world, because the characters look very Fortnite esque, and the world looks beautiful. And I
yeah.
think there's a weird,
Is it giving you like that Need for Speed Unbound kind of vibe where it like
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
yeah, they don't match the environment they're in.
There's no meshing of the characters in the world. Now it's early access. I'm sure they'll mesh it better, but does it stop you having fun? Absolutely not. The skateboarding is what it comes down to at the end of the day, and the skateboarding in this game is incredible.
It did look like the what you were streaming looked like you were like just on massive tutorial island, but within the world itself. So I feel as if like once you got past that like 90-minute 2 hour mark, you're kind of just told to get on with it, or
Yeah,
it feels like there's going to be perpetual missions and tasks and stuff to do. No.
I don't think so, because it still very much feels like tutorials. This is how you use your AR. This is how you put sessions down. This is how you do this. This is how you. All the missions are. This is how you do something.
How to play the game, basically.
Yeah. So I think it's just a tutorial. I think at the end of this, it's just going to be, here's some session markers, go get high scores here, without really the intense hand holding that it's been given me for these 2 hours. But
Yeah.
I really like it. I think it's really good. I will say one thing: people were worried about it being an EA game, being free to play and being heavily monetized. The first mission in this game made me laugh really hard, and it was, let's go to a store and see what they have.
God, of
And I was
course it
like,
was.
of course they're tutorializing their store. So the way the store works in Skate is, it seems to be, I don't know if it's daily or weekly, but there's different item drops.
Okay.
So you go to the store, but you can't pick an item that you want. There will be an assortment of items. I think it was 7 or 8. And you buy a mystery box.
Oh, it's just
and the mystery
randomized
box
then.
will give you 1 or 2 items. It is, what a crazy system. What a crazy system. And I don't know how they're getting away with it, because wasn't a few of their games, wasn't Battlefront 2 banned in Europe because of the loot boxes?
Vague. I vaguely sounds familiar. Yes.
And they had to drop it. So I don't know how they're getting away with this in Europe. It's heavily just FIFA Ultimate Team for generic t-shirts. Although my character looks spiffy, and he's the best looking character in San Amsterdam, with his crop top and
orange
short shorts.
Yeah.
Big socks, big shoes. Let's go.
Gonna live in my head longer than it should.
But yes, that is what we've been playing. So I think the time has come, Tomahawk, to talk about the games that everyone is playing, but we just don't want to because we don't like them. Let's get into this week's topic, which is, of course, universally loved games that we hate. Let's get there now. And here we are, Tomahawk. Universally loved games that we hate. Prepare yourself, because the internet's going to go absolutely hard on us through this episode.
We're going to get cancelled. This might be our most... But the thing is, though, like, all engagement is good engagement. It feeds our algorithms. It pushes us in. So, like, bad publicity in general, I'm all for it. I say we just get on and stop stalling.
Yeah, so what we'll do is, as we're talking through our games, we'll sprinkle a little bit of, like, the social media replies to this, all right? So there's a couple of heavy hitters in the social media replies to this one, but my first game is Super Mario 64.
Yeah, why does that not surprise me, though, with you? I know you have your gripes with this, like, but I'm going to let you get it off your chest first.
I hate Super Mario 64, right? And let me tell you why, okay? I remember the first time I saw Super Mario 64 was on Games Master, and I thought, that is the most incredible looking video game I have ever seen in my life, and I became obsessed with Super Mario 64.
Okay.
And then I remember a friend at school got his Nintendo 64 imported from Japan. And I remember going around to his house to play Super Mario 64, being massively disappointed in Super Mario 64.
Oh dear.
Now, I hate Mario 64. Andy Games, good friend of the pod, he knows of my disdain for this game. Now, I don't know why I don't like it. I just really don't. I find the level setup of running around the castle, jumping through paintings, and then just visiting the same levels over and over and over and over again to get different stars, to open different courses. I thought that was just stupid. It's not a good setup. It doesn't flow very well. It kills the pace of the game, in my opinion. I find the gameplay at Mario 64 really boring. Every level is like a hub level, and they're quite empty. There's just nothing.
Your thought would be then, if you didn't just get your star and then get kicked from the level, to just be able to go and do the whole thing. If you were able to do all 6 stars, whatever, in one run, you'd be happier with that as a process.
You know what? Yes, I would be. Just I get why it's set up like that. It's probably some sort of system resource limitation thing where you get 1 star, you complete the course, and it kicks you, and you can just straight back in. It just kills. For me, it kills the flow of the game. I don't know if I dislike this game because I don't think it's a bad game, because it isn't. But I think my issue with this was the sort of E3 trailers, the gameplay trailers and stuff like that were so amazing looking. And I think maybe in my head, I built this game up to be on and was never going to stand a chance. But I find it really boring. I find it a really boring game. I just think there's very little to. People are going to kill me for this. There's 160 odd stars, 164.
120.
Whatever. Who cares? I don't know. Don't care. There's so many stars to do in this game, and there's hidden stars, and you can do this and that and the other, and you can throw the penguin off the edge of the level. Don't care. It's boring. It's boring. It is a boring video game. The music is typical Mario. It doesn't suit the mood unless it's a boss fight. The Bowser music in this game is incredible. Every other level is just twee Nintendo. It is muddy looking. It plays poorly. And let's just be honest, that controller, the N64 controller, worst controller I've ever used.
I'm going to play DA on this one here. So obviously being a Nintendo, starting off with the N64, starting off with Mario, that was like my bread and butter. That was my gateway, my entryway into. Mm-hmm. I didn't get a PlayStation until I was nearly a man.
Yeah, you merely adopted it.
So like, we grew up on the sort of early platformer for Mario on the 64. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Now, obviously, as I detached away further from it, I was just like, it's just Mario. And I kind of see where you're coming from. Like, the level designs are just a little bit stagnated, whatever, however you need to progress them. I think I kind of got a bit more of appreciation for them when I start to learn how to speed run it again in a sort of Andy Games Open Challenge. I went onto his stream and learned how to do a 16-star run, and it was frustrating, but it was like really rewarding to be able to go and do it like that, and just learning all these like little hacks and tidbits and just all the time saves, really. So I'm going to sort of knock you back on that front. I think if you could play the whole game, but in 30 minutes, then it's perfect.
That's great. I mean, I don't think it's a bad game. I'm saying that right now. I know I joke with Andy an awful lot saying this game is terrible. Why are you playing it? I don't think Mario 64 is a bad game. It has really good parts. The Bowser fights are great. In fact, a lot of the boss fights in this game are pretty good. Maybe it is a mixture of the controller. I remember being around, the kid in class was called JP. I remember going to JP's house and going, how are you meant to hold this? Like, how are you meant to hold this? And the analog stick being like revolutionary, don't get me wrong, but it's a bad analog stick. And maybe it's a mixture of the controller, my expectations of what I thought this game was going to be compared to what it was. And I was a Sega kid. I was a Sega kid growing up, and then I went to the PlayStation, and I didn't own N64 ever. Sherry did, but he got the Pikachu edition. So when was that? 1999, maybe.
I think so. It was around like Pokemon Snap or the Game Boy ports and stuff that you could go across over. Yeah.
I don't think Mario 64 is a bad game. I just don't like it. I just think it's not for me. And before people start getting on, you just don't like Mario because you're a Sega kid. I really enjoyed Super Mario Sunshine. I will say that. And when Super Mario 64 was out, I was a year later playing Sonic Adventure and loving it. So what do I do? But my first game that everyone loves, I can't stand, to the surprise of nobody, is Super Mario 64. Tomahawk.
That is fair. I mean, I'm also looking at this as well. When you think that you've also got Mario came out in the 96. Europe 96, that kind of region. Then a couple of months later, Crash Bandicoot comes out on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
I think if you're making that jump and then you have to then, I'm gonna assume that you play Crash first. And then you've got okay.
No. JP got his N64 from Japan. He had a Japanese N64. He was the kid in class that said, my uncle works for Nintendo.
Oh, he was that guy.
Maybe it was true, but he got the N64 it must have been about nearly a year before it came out over here. His 64 was Japanese. So I played
So he
Super
would have got
Mario
it in about
first.
96 then, yeah. So you're talking 96 for Japan and stuff. If he said it shipped over, then it was PAL for 97, and then Crash kind of comes out in that sort of time.
Yeah.
Then
I played Mario 64 before I played Crash Bandicoot.
and I'm sure Crash Bandicoot just blew your mind once you
Crash
realized
Bandicoot.
the difference then in platforming.
I this sounds stupid and I know it's wrong, but when I played Crash Bandicoot, I hand on heart thought Crash Bandicoot was a better looking video game than Super Mario 64. I loved all the unique death animations in Crash Bandicoot. I loved how I know the levels are linear tunnels, and there's a lot that Naughty Dog did a lot of cheating to get the game looking as good as it does. But I hand on heart thought when I was a kid, Crash Bandicoot was a better looking game than Mario 64. I would argue that there's still an argument to be made for Crash Bandicoot being better looking than Mario 64.
I think you can argue that because, as you say, they're tunnels, they have a limited scope, and you can pack. They probably are able to pack more detail into a smaller space, and whereas 3D platforming for Mario then kind of has a limitation of they can only populate so much and so many enemies in such a wide area, because they are wide areas to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And they're so stacked, like, you know, it's height and levels as well.
Absolutely.
So I get where that argument would come from, and I would probably back you and say that Crash is a cleaner looking game.
It's a phenomenal looking game for a PlayStation 1 game.
They've been able to pack so much into a tube, basically.
And that's it. It's so much cheating being done by Naughty Dog. I just felt that Crash Bandicoot had far more character and far more charm than Super Mario 64. I will die on this hill. Crash Bandicoot 1 is a better platformer than Super Mario 64. There's your hook for this week. But anyway, that's enough for me. I am dipping my head back under the parapet for a bit. What is your universally loved game that you hate? Do you go big?
I'm going to go big. I'm going to go a couple more recent. I'm going to go with Elden Ring.
Okay.
And I know that you're going to back me on this one, because there's just something about, like, the FromSoft games, love them all. Armored Core, maybe a little bit kind of whatevs, but we're not here to talk about Armored Core.
No, we're not. No one's here to talk about Armored Core. He talks about Armored Core.
Well, apparently they made 6 of them, so there must be a fan base somewhere.
I mean, they made 6 over the course of 30 years.
Irrelevant. They made 6. They made 6 of them anyway. So no, we're not. Yeah, so we're not going to talk about Armored Core. Like Bloodborne, Sekiro, Dark Souls, even for whatever Dark Souls are, Demon Souls, all that. There's just something about Elden Ring that it does enough to lure me in, but doesn't do anything to keep me there.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I have never played Elden Ring, and I'll tell you why. Where do I start? I have played pretty much every From Software game from Demon Souls, and I didn't much care for Demon Souls. I put 80 hours into Dark Souls 1, and I struggled to think of a single point of that game where I had fun, and I dropped it. I played Dark Souls 2, dropped it brave and quickly.
Yeah.
I then played Bloodborne, which I love. I've played through Bloodborne so much. I've got hundreds and hundreds of hours in Bloodborne. And then I bought Dark Souls 3. I have never felt the urge to play Dark Souls 3. I bought Sekiro, dropped it brave and quick because I didn't much care for it. And then Elden Ring came out, and I have zero interest in it. Zero.
Like, when it was first announced, I kind of thought, we just had Bloodborne being this, like, the Lovecraftian kind of style. It was this Gothic Victorian setup, and I thought, cool, we're going to get something a little bit different. And then when I remember seeing, like, the Elden Ring reveal, I was just kind of like, oh, we're basically back at Armor, like Dark Souls kind of vibe, with a huge open world. And then I think the more that the game kind of started to come through the works, and it was Miyazaki's working with George R.R. Martin in creating the lore and creating the world. And then I think that was kind of around the time where everyone was kind of hating on the end of Game of Thrones, and not so much this because of the series. They were kind of blaming George R. R. Martin that he wasn't finishing the books, and then I kind of was like, well, if they're trusting this man to create lore who can't even finish a book series of it, and then transcribing to a TV series that has now already finished, what hope does this world and narrative have, really? And then I bought it like last year, booted it up. And then it does this like, oh, here, go set up your character, go through the first like little section, all the little notes are there, fight a boss, which you'll never be able to beat with your level 0 everything. Yeah. And then we're going to put you through this condescending tutorial.
Okay.
I feel as if though anyone who's played a From Software game knows the combat system. It doesn't massively change throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And I played through it and went, I feel like dumbed down. So I more recently started a new file, skipped that completely, and then they just go, I see this massive open world. See you later. Go whatever way you want. And this kind of is going to harken back to the Hollow Knight comment that I made, that a game that kind of so scarcely tells you what to do, where to go, and I'm just like, the option of too much choice is like choking me.
Okay, yeah. But see, the thing about From Software games is they're all, apart from Demon's Souls, they're all kind of that. You know, you can go anywhere you want, but the game's design lets you know you're going the wrong way, effectively. Like if I think back to Dark Souls, when you get to Firelink Shrine, you can go, the right way is go up the aqueduct into the Undead Burg, but you can go down into like the graveyard. Okay. Where the skeletons are so much stronger than you, and you quickly learn that's not where I'm meant to be going. I don't mind that design philosophy at all. Bloodborne has it too, to be fair. Bloodborne has it. It's not as much as Dark Souls, but there is an element of choice where you can go into an area where you shouldn't be that wee bit early, and you will know that you should not be there because you're not strong enough. But I don't mind that philosophy at all. If it's designed well and it's designed around that philosophy, then stick with it and fire away with it. But yeah, I think I've said this before. Games that are wide open with no sort of, you need to go here and do that. And I don't want a game to funnel me down a path and you can't deviate from that path. I don't want that. But what I need a little bit of structure in my games. Otherwise, I will do nothing. If that makes sense.
Like the problem, like the only reason I know where to go is when you get the lift from tutorial dungeon to the main world. You're pointed at the sort of go to the castle.
Yeah, okay.
And like you kind of figure out your sites of grace in a straightish line, but only for the fact that your character walks into the lift, it comes up, and where you're going is the way the camera is facing. Yeah. I could then decide to go, I'm just going to go out this opposite direction. Then you're bogged down with the Tree Sentinel, who's the first optional boss, who's in the immediate vicinity of where you spawn into the game. And I'm like,
hello,
man, what am I going to do here? I have like, so I'm making it my mission, if I want to try and go back into this, is to beat the Grafted Scion immediately so I don't get launched into tutorial dungeon.
Okay, yeah.
And just see how like the gameplay goes on that. But it's not doing anything. I know people who have put hundreds of hours into this, into the Shadow of the Erd Tree, and into Night Rain, which, like, I don't know, I feel as if like rather than give me more from stuff that I actually want, they're trying to spoon feed me and force feed me more Elden Ring content. And I think the more I get it, the more I'm trying to be pushed, the more they want me to do it, I'm pushing back on it. So I think it's probably more a me problem in this instance, but I feel as if like they've just went, rather than explore a new IP or do something like that, they're going, no, we're going to double and triple down on this game and this series. And then the more they do, I'm like, ew, no, get away from me.
Yeah, I know that. Night Rain's a funny one because I have not heard anyone talk about Night Rain since it was released. That was out this year. That came out in like March.
Yeah, because the plan was like a 3-player, and then they were like, oh, you can run it solo if you want. or it's with 3 players. But if you try it with 2 players, it can't be done. The game won't
Oh,
boot
I
up
didn't
unless
realize
you're.
that.
Yeah, I think they
Wow.
have to I think they're planning to, or if they've not already patched it so you can play with 2 players. But I think at launch it was like you can run it solo, or you can run it with 3 players. There is no in between. The lobby won't start unless you have 1 or 3.
That's from software, never changed. But yeah, no, I haven't heard anyone talk about this game at all. It just seems to have come and gone, like a lot of these games as a service. But yeah, the Elden Ring then was your choice.
Just did it was nearly too keen to get everyone on board with this, like, make this a super accessible Souls like.
There's a lot to be said for that. You know, one of the big complaints about all their games is basically it's so bloody difficult and so uncommunicative with its players, and I can see why they've done that. They've addressed legitimate complaints and concerns about previous games, but maybe just erred a little bit too far.
There was a moment that properly killed the love of the game for me when I was like, nope, that's it, I'm done. Whereas I was following the story trail as I should have been, and I was like, oh, there's a little cave there, I'm going to go explore, maybe there's some loot in there. Opened the treasure chest that was highlighted, it threw me into some sort of shadow realm, told me I couldn't go out the way I came and had to fight through it, and it clearly was in an OP area that I couldn't,
Oh dear.
basically couldn't fight, couldn't defend, and had to run, couldn't even run past people. And at that point I was like, I'm stuck, because when I die I'm going to respawn and I'm going to be in the same place. So
To do it
there
all
was,
over again.
yeah, exactly. So I think that it's definitely a me problem in this game, but there was just all too much of it going on that I was just like, I can't, it's not for me. It really isn't for me.
Fair enough. At least you give it a go when you didn't like it. That's the main thing. I'm sure the From Software fans will be totally gentle with you. Let's go to a few of our listeners' replies here, okay? So I stuck word out on X. Not many responses, but there was one response, and it was great friend of the podcast, Parsival, who has, I think he said this a few times to us during streams and stuff like that, but he says for him, the game that he hates that everyone seems to love is Red Dead Redemption 2. And he says, I've tried it a good few times, but it just doesn't click. All that snow at the start beats me every time. I hear him.
I get where he's coming from. It's a 2, like that's a good 2 and a bit hour intro. I'm 100% sure. I remember this being about 2 hours of the main story, because it's a big old main story, to be honest. And I think I felt like that we were in the snow and in the mountains and getting to Valentine. I think I want to say I felt like that took an eternity.
See, maybe I just enjoyed it. I don't remember the snow, the mountain walk being that long. Was it that long? I really enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 2.
Felt like it's not a game it's not a game I've revisited in a very long time, but I do remember I know where Parzival's coming from on this one. I feel as if that start was just so long, but the trade-off was so good, because once you got in, it just opens up this phenomenal world.
Yeah. It's a great game. A great game. I get where he's coming from, though. I myself feel if the opening is getting too long, I will lose interest completely. I said it about Cyberpunk a few weeks back. If it drags a little bit, I can and will lose interest, and I won't revisit it. So what about yourself? Do you get any sort of replies, any good ones, any big hitting games?
I actually didn't. No, I put the feelers out. I didn't get very many, or I didn't get any controversial choices anyway. I've kind of banked a lot of mine. I figured I would just double down on some of my more controversial gaming thoughts then.
Fair enough. I also put Reddit thread up about a month ago. I will pick one here, and one of the replies is from a Redditor called Blockfighter1, and he said Death Stranding. He says
I can see where people would
100%. He says the story looks really interesting, but the gameplay was boring. But I look forward to whatever TV adaptations come in the future. He just wants to know what the story is, which is what kept me going with the game. I never finished it because I put it down and took a break and then never went back to it. It was it killed my own momentum. But yeah, no, I can see Death Stranding is not a game for everybody. Even Hideo Kojima said that this is not a game for everyone. This is an experimental title, and it's the best description I can give that game.
This is the way I think a lot of people saw Death Stranding 2, particularly, is like the one thing that Kojima missed the mark on with part 1 was make the game fun.
Yeah.
Have your wacky story, have your wacky like narrative and tropes and stuff like that, but just make the game fun. And I think people were sort of caught cold on I hate saying it's a walking simulator because it's kind of...
It's literally all delivering stuff. It's a good description for it. It's not a traditional walking simulator like the Vanishing of Edith Finch or something like that. There's real gameplay in here, and in-depth gameplay, like the combat in Death Stranding 1 against the mules, that they're called.
Yeah.
It's really good. Like, and the general getting from point A to point B is really good. The driving, I think, is really... I love the community aspect where people can build and leave things to make your journey that much easier.
Yeah.
Which is great. But yeah, it's fun isn't a word I would use to describe Death Stranding. It's much too grandiose for a simple concept as fun.
Yes, especially when like you play testing Death Stranding 2 and too many people like it, and you go, no, we need to make all these changes. We need to strip it back. We need people to question everything about this game.
Yeah.
I can see why people will go in and go, oh, it's a Kojima game, and then be put off by... But I have to walk everywhere? No.
And walking is very slow, especially when there's a river that's too deep and you can't pass it. And you have to find a shallow piece where you'll follow this river for miles, and then there's a shallow piece, and then you slip on a random rock and lose all your stuff. Anyway,
and you're carrying like 400 kgs worth of equipment, but then you
just goes, bye. It's like, well,
if you're doing Duke of Edinburgh, then I think people will love that game.
It's a great rambler. But yes, that is our first games. That is our contributors' first games. Let's take a little pause and we'll come back with our second games. Okay, Tomahawk, my second game. And I think we've talked a lot more about this than I thought we were going to, so I might just bundle in. Don't know what, I'm going to say this one. This is one that I have talked about in the podcast before. The next universally loved game that I hate is Control.
Yeah, I figured you were going to say this one.
I hate Control. Like, I really, really, really hate Control. So many issues with Control that I could talk about this all day. First big issue is the story of Control is really interesting, but it never really concludes. Like, it just kind of, oh, you're now the director, and it's like, okay, but why? Why am I the director?
Because the inanimate object chose you.
I mean, right? I mean, the story, it just makes the story is so convoluted, and I get what Sam Lake was going for here. I just don't think the story hits very well. And it's usually in games like this, it's the story that drives me forward. I find myself playing Control because of the gameplay, which is pretty good in Control. I don't think Control's a bad game. It's just not for me. I find Control frustrating to play. Really frustrating to play. I find myself with big rooms with continuously spawning enemies that you take down in exactly the same way. They all look slightly different, and there's the enemies you can't hurt and stuff like this, but it is very repetitive, very quickly. The kinetic powers are cool for a little bit, and then it just becomes, well, I'm just going to throw this big object at that guy and then shoot him until he explodes, and then there's 10 more going to spawn in, and I'm going to throw that object and that's going to explode, blah blah blah, ad infinitum. It is not a fun game, really. I mean, the gameplay's good to a point, but the game runs on far too long, and a lot of my game time was spent trying to make sense of gaming's worst map. The map in Control is absolutely diabolically bad. It is zero help. Zero help.
Because it's essentially you have to navigate a 3D area with a 2-dimensional map that is slapped over the top of you actively walking around
Yeah,
rooms. Yeah, I know. I streamed this, and as I was streaming it, I kind of got further and further into the story and went, man, I love this game. I love the story. I love the world. I love everything that kind of ties this control verse together.
yeah,
But man, like I thought that like the first Tomasi, the first boss that you do sort of come across in the mail room, and then I'm like, oh no, he's just a flying enemy, but super
yeah.
buffed, and then I'm going to be dealt with more flying enemies. I can get behind that. The rinse and repeat was not that satisfying.
Yeah, and that's the problem with it. All the combat is done at it's mid-range combat, all of it. And you just fall into the same cycles. No matter what the enemy looks like, you beat them the same way. You might have to change your gun,
Oh,
but
I know
beyond
you don't have to. Like the thing is, you can just go with base as long as you can put perks and stuff to it.
but
You're
beyond
grand.
that, like a
Yeah.
lot of my game time was spent with holding the map button, trying to navigate a 3D map in a 2D space. It just the map makes no sense. I don't know if they fixed it for like the definitive edition or whatever. And
Nope.
I will no the class. Well done. The story's it has its moments. It has some great moments. I can't remember the boss fight, but I distinctly remember fighting. I think it's the typewriter, but the room. It's like I think it might be. Is it Jesse's brother? The
Right
room
towards
is
the end, and
the
it's
room
like
is bright
all
red and it's tilted on its
yeah.
side, and that was incredible looking. And also the fight on the miniature version of Jesse's hometown, which
Oh
I
yes,
thought
when you
was
actually get to
amazing.
the ordinary event where it's been stored away, and you go
Yes.
and you build up to that. Then the ashtray maze as well, one of the best
Oh,
segments, easily one of the best segments in that game, if not.
it's the best segment in the game.
I think just with the music as well, it like does this thing where it slightly becomes a rhythm game. I
It
kind of feel like where
sinks.
they go into, and it's like this would be brilliant as a episodic series.
Yeah, when they really lean into the sort of supernatural, the game is at its best.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that maze section is fun.
it has the game
wow.
does have one of the best fake out endings where Jesse gets corrupted, and then
Yes.
it kind of like credits roll. I remember streaming that and then going like, well, that's it, everyone, see you later, bye bye bye. And then everyone was like, why are the credits doing that? And then they all kind of start to blur and distort, and I'm like, gotcha.
There's more here. Yeah, but I will say though, for the base game, I've never played the DLC, and I'll probably never play the DLC. But the final section where you're having to fight your way through, like the maps in like a void, horrendous. I hate that. I remember playing the last section of that, dying constantly. Mrs. Lovett going, "You're clearly not enjoying this. Turn the game off." And I'm like, "No." Because I know this is the end of the game and I have to beat this game so I can say it is done and I never have to return to it. Once those credits rolled, I didn't even watch the credits. I thanked the game for its time. I went to my PlayStation 4's main menu and I uninstalled the game. And I would never play it.
It felt very like the end basically was a way just for you to go, oh, did you see all those side missions that you're never going to do? Well, you can go do them now.
Yeah,
Because
no.
the game ends, it basically is like, oh, I'm in the bureau, but the fight's not over. Like, it's still in lockdown. We have that to deal with. And I'm like, that can't be the end of the game.
It's over for me.
And then you realize that, oh no, it just is like a way to shoehorn in new missions or like side missions and stuff. And I'm like, nope, don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
I also don't agree with a game that gives you timed events in game.
Yeah.
You could be, and then it's like they're the opposite side of the map, and you're like, you're giving me a minute to get there.
Yeah, the Dead Rising School of Design, hate it. Yeah, I think Control's a funny one. I can see, again, I don't think it's a bad game. It's just not for me. I didn't enjoy it that much. I'll never play it again. I will probably never play the DLC for it. FBC Firebreak was fine, but I'll never play it again either. I think the world is really interesting. The concepts of it, the conceits of it are all really good. I like the themes of it too, but it's a game, and the gameplay loop just didn't capture me at all. Just
Yeah.
is it the ancient house, the oldest house? What's it
The
called?
oldest house, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a great setting for a video game, but navigating that was just an absolute mess. Nah.
Oh, the worst map of all time.
Yeah, so Control is my second universally loved game that I can't stand. What's your second one, Tomahawk?
Oh, I've got a pick of two here, and I'm going to think: do I go with my one that's a solid choice, or do I go with my wild card?
Go with the one that you feel strongest about, and then what we can do is we'll do a few more interactions from readers and stuff like that. And then I have one more game, but I've talked about so much in this podcast, but I feel like it needs to be mentioned in this episode, but I won't spend too much time talking about it.
If we go for the one I strongly feel the most about, then it's Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Okay.
I don't agree with the game that is a remake that should be considered for Game of the Year. That's been well established. I also don't believe that Resident Evil 4 was able to capture the same love, compassion, and drive that I had for playing Resident Evil 4 OG on the GameCube. I felt like it was just, yes, fair enough. They like jazzed everything up mechanically, and it just is a huge graphical update and graphical like change and stuff. But like, I just finished. Look, I think I said this originally, like way back when I first started playing it, like I think it was like 10, 12 months ago or so. And I just felt like I got to a point I was like, I'm not even enjoying this. I'm literally just playing this game to get the end credits and get the achievements now. I just didn't vibe with RE4 Remake in any capacity. Anything beyond like pretty much until I met Ashley, that game was great. And then everything beyond that was like, oh God. I didn't even feel like I was, fighting, but I just felt like I was fighting hordes of bad guys. And then just at this point, by the time I'd ran out of ammo, I was like, I'm just going to have to run around everybody and then roundhouse kick them. Yeah. And I'm going to be probably the first to say this. I don't get the hype on Leon. I don't get the Leon hype. He's a bit of a wet blanket.
Yes and no. I have not. I bought Resident Evil 4 Remake sharp after it came out, but it is still in its shrink wrap. I got it for a low price. I got it for dirt cheap because as they were doing a fire sale of stuff, and I got it for next to nothing. But I have no idea how Leon is in the remake, but Leon
it's quippy. He's very like action hero one-liners, but has like no person. Like,
but that's like the original as well. I love Leon in Resident Evil 4. He comes out with the worst one-liners ever, but there's something so endearing about him because he is built up to be this super capable agent. Yet he is the most awkward man when it comes to conversations. There's so many great one-liners in that game, but they're great for all the wrong reasons. I sent my right hand to get you, and he's just like, your right hand comes off.
I don't know. I didn't vibe with Leon. I didn't vibe with the game as a whole. I just felt it was too like, let's just resource dump you and you can tank your way through this entire game. I don't remember that being the case in the OG.
It pretty much is. Once you get to the military island, you're
military island was like, just felt like the worst thing. And then I talked about this before record. The Salazar fight just became a huge difficulty spike to the point that I was just like, kill me. I'd rather this be a permadeath run and get rid of this game forever. There was so much about this game. I just thought it was like, oh God, we're doing this. We have to do it. Like, and plus, again, if you don't play Leon in Resident Evil 2, your first interaction with Leon as a main protagonist isn't until Resident Evil 4. So anyone who just skips Leon in RE2, Leon is completely doesn't serve him. It's the same thing if you don't play as Chris Redfield in RE1, you don't get to see Redfield until RE5.
Yeah, Resident Evil 5. Or Code Veronica, if you want to go there.
However you want to play canon. Yeah. But like, I'm just like, I could navigate my way through the RE series, never having played Leon until RE4, and be pretty happy with that choice.
Yeah, I like Leon. I do. I like Leon as a character.
I want to know how you go from rookie cop to BSAA agent. He's not even BSAA. Secret Service or whatever he is in RE4. I want to see where that leap comes from. That's a conversation for another day.
He survived the Raccoon City event. That's enough.
So that makes him special.
Yes, it was nuked. The city was nuked, man.
Carlos survived Raccoon City. He doesn't get a second game. That's all I'm saying.
That's because no one likes Carlos.
Bring back Barry.
Bring back Barry.
Anyway, RE4 remake is the game that is universally loved and acclaimed and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, it was pretty sweaty garbo.
Okay. Fair play. Right. I will pick another couple from Reddit here. There's a good few in here. Dr. Teeth says that Zelda Breath of the Wild for him. Maybe I didn't get it, but I just found myself wandering, getting lost, misplacing my horse, having any weapon I like break constantly, and then beating a boss, but feeling like I actually lost because I now needed to eat food, and that's all I had to do on it.
I feel as if he's actually accidentally playing the Oregon Trail or something. It's like Link died of dysentery.
I mean, I remember the pre-release sort of cycle for Breath of the Wild, and one of the things they highlighted very early on, but battered on for far too long, was look, horses don't run into trees in the real world, so Epona doesn't do it here either. And it's just like, who cares? What's the game about?
It's the same as every Legend of Zelda game. It's go fight the big bad. Link has to do some mechanic that is integral to the game until you can beat the big bad.
Yeah. I mean, I went on record before. 3D Zelda, not for me. 2D Zelda, all day long. So the next one I want to pick up here is from two people, Piles of Error and the Very Average Achiever. Piles of Error said, The Last of Us, gameplay is meh, bordering on poop, and the story was very lackluster. And then Very Average Achiever says, I second this, didn't care for it. I liked Joel and I liked Ellie's relationship, but towards the end, I liked the relationship towards the end, but that was about it. Story and gameplay were fine. Crafting was poop. I wanted to like it more than I did, which is fine. I disagree with the storyline and The Last of Us being bad. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best storylines ever told in a video game, but I totally get why people wouldn't like The Last of Us.
I think when you have like followed the PlayStation 3 relationship, I think that it's such a lovely swan song to the generation.
Yeah.
But I haven't been exposed to every iteration of The Last of Us by now. I could probably see how like the overexposure would just push you away.
Yeah,
it's the Elden Ring syndrome. Really, too much of it becomes sickening. But first time, I think, if you don't resonate with that story in some way, there's something wrong with you on a fundamental level.
I agree. It could be a case of Mario 64 for me, where they've heard so much positivity about this thing, they've built it up, and it's never, ever, ever going to meet those expectations. Not in a month of Sundays. Yeah. But yeah, let's take another wee break, and we'll come back for a very short round 3, Tomahawk. All right, let's go. Okay, Tomahawk, let's do a quick fire round here, okay? I'm going to tell you the next game, and it is a franchise for me. I'll give you a bonus point if you can guess what the franchise is.
I know. This is the joys of talking before record, so I know exactly which one you're going to say, but I'm going to let you tell the listeners, the viewers at home.
The critically loved franchise that I hate is The Elder Scrolls. I hate them. I hate them all, and I hate them all equally. I think they're dull. I think they're boring. I think they're directionless. I think the combat is wildly unsatisfying. It is. The combat in these games is borderline. It's bad. It's bad. I don't like them. I don't like the setup. I don't like how they look. I don't like how they play. I do not like the Elder Scrolls at all. and thought hard. I will not upgrade my PC to play Elder Scrolls 6.
Can't make me. You won't tell
I
me what to
won't
do.
do it. You can send Randy Pitchford round. I'm
He'll
not doing
fight
it for
them all.
Borderlands either.
That's wild. Like, but I think it's more the people who are like in charge of these projects who go, well, it's the gamers who are the problem. It's not us.
Randy Pitchford was so funny. Just a side note, he was giving tech support to people on Twitter.
Wild.
Bad tech support.
I mean, I get it. I like Skyrim too, but I think that's probably like me playing it on the Xbox 360 back in the day. I like Skyrim, and I don't think I haven't felt any urge to go back to it. It just has become a meme at this point now. To the point where I can't take it seriously. Speaking of Borderlands 4, there was a brilliant thing. It was just like, oh, I can't believe the game glitched out like this, and then the person falls off the map, the camera kind of like jostles and spins, and the next thing you know, it's, oh, you're finally awake.
It was a joke. Incredible scenes. Like, I just don't like Elder Scrolls at all. I get why people do like them. They're big, massive open worlds to get lost in. I'm sure there's great side stories, because I do like Fallout, and it's exactly the same setup.
Yeah,
I just don't like the settings, and I just don't like how I don't like the combat. I need satisfying combat, and the Elder Scrolls just doesn't have it. But anyway, what's your next one, mate? Quick fire round.
This is a quick fire one, and this is going to get me really, really cancelled. And I think that when I say it, firstly, you're going to shout at me.
Okay.
Metal Gear Solid 2.
No, okay. I said, no, I see that.
But this is only for the fact that, like, now that I've played it and I've gone back and played all the other games in the series and I've played everything else like that, I feel like it's just Metal Gear Solid 1 with nicer graphics and a less likable protagonist.
I mean,
Raiden's just... I mean, we talk about Leon being a wet blanket. Raiden's like, oh my God. Like, I'm just like, you're so unequipped, you're so ill-informed, and you're just a mope the whole way through it.
That's the point. He is green. That's the point. He is uninformed, but so was Snake in Metal Gear Solid 1. Snake didn't know his real mission.
But he was still like a pretty... maybe it's because he was a bit more of a grizzled, out of retirement, cooler spy, and then it was just like, you get that hour, we'll call it, roundup of Snake on the tanker.
Yes.
And then you're like bait and switched to be Raiden.
See, I remember the outrage about that bait and switch. I was there for it. I remember it.
You're there, Ground Zero.
I was molded by it. He only adopted it. I remember the outrage about it. I think the worst thing Metal Gear Solid 2 did was give you the tanker and make the tanker so good, because you're Snake, you're doing all the stuff you wanted to do, and then suddenly, as you say, you're riding this new character. There was no mention of him at all in the, like, it was a bait and switch 100%. But I really like Metal Gear Solid 2. I love where the story goes. I love the last section of it where is it a spoiler for a 24-year-old game?
Oh God, no.
The end of it where it starts glitching. You're playing a game.
Like,
yeah, it's great.
Really good kind of... people probably would have switched their consoles off, and
I did. I did. I turned off my PlayStation because I thought it was broken. Yeah.
Like, I think more of a... I don't know. I just think now that I've gone back, I've played Snake Eater, I've played Metal Gear Solid 1 several times, I've Guns of the Patriots, Phantom Pain, Ground Zeroes, that kind of stuff, even all them, I still think there's a lot more to like in the rest of the games than Metal Gear Solid 2 just kind of has this like... oh, we tried something different, and I think I felt robbed knowing that was the first iteration of, like, you know, fully 3D PlayStation 2 graphics, like in a high polygon count, where we could have appreciated the legend that is Solid Snake, and we got him for, like, it's the same kind of way you got Dwayne Johnson in The Mummy Returns for like 5 minutes. As a non-CGI character.
I mean, yeah, he does appear throughout this story. Spoiler alert. He's Jack.
He's not dead.
But no, I would agree with you. I don't think Metal Gear Solid 2 is the best Metal Gear Solid. I think I would say it's behind Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid 1, and Metal Gear Solid 4. But I think it's solid. It's the fourth best one. It's better than 5 for sure.
Yes. I think I'm not gonna discount Phantom Pain. Ground Zeroes is stronger.
But that's because it's a prologue. It's about an hour long. It's a prologue. Ground Zeroes isn't a game. It's a prologue for
so it's the tanker.
Pain.
So if you take the tanker out of Metal Gear Solid 2, if we discounted
Metal Gear Solid
that,
2 is still a better game of Phantom Pain. 100%.
Yeah, agreed. Fetch Quest is Phantom Pain. But like, I don't know. I feel as if now that I've gone back and I've been able to kind of like collate all my thoughts as a fully grown, matured adult, I don't like Metal Gear Solid 2.
That's fair enough. I can see why people don't like it. I think the bait and switch is huge. I think the tanker section being so brilliant, and it is brilliant, and then it just ends, and then suddenly you're
but they said, they use all this to set up the events of 4, and then I'm like, could that have been better navigated as Snake throughout? But who knows? Yeah,
I don't think so.
We never know.
I think it was hindsight probably the right thing to do, of giving you an underpowered protagonist where everything is new and weird and strange, because everything was new and weird and strange to the player. So it allowed the player to place themselves on Raiden. Yes, he was a character, but he's also an avatar now. You know, he was saying the same things you were thinking. What the first time he sees Vamp and he's like, "What are you?" and things like that. I really like Raiden's character in this game. I like it. I think it's a technical masterpiece. Like, there was no middleware physics engines in the PlayStation 2 era. Yet somehow every item on a shelf was interactable. It reacted realistically. You could shit a watermelon and it would explode. It would leave exit wounds. Ice melted in real time and things like that with no physics middleware. The game looked incredible. I think it played incredible. I still think Metal Gear Solid 2 third or fourth best Metal Gear Solid. Sometimes I would say Metal Gear Solid 4 is better than it. It's probably not. I'm just thinking, isn't there like an hour and a half long cutscene in Metal Gear Solid 4?
There is, it's still the longest cutscene in world records or something. But I feel as if like the longer I can let you talk about this, you'll probably talk yourself into saying how little you like it now. I feel as
no, I think it's probably the third best Metal Gear Solid after 3, 1, and then 2, and then 4, and then the Phantom Pain. Phantom Pain's comfortably the worst one. I don't like a Phantom Pain. Well, and that's not true. I liked the Phantom Pain for a little while. And then I grew to dislike it by the end, and then it just ended. There was no ending to it, which is disappointing.
Oh, no, there is absolutely no ending to it. But I also begs the question, why are we getting a Metal Gear Delta in an Unreal 5 setting and not using the Fox engine? But that's probably a different conversation for a different time.
I think a few reasons. But anyway, let's go to a few more fast fire.
Fast Fire wants to finish up, I think.
You ready? Sean Reed says on Reddit, Journey. I was bored out of my mind from start to finish.
Whoa. Hot take.
What a hot take is, right? Kingdom Come, both of them, horrible games from Delete It. There's someone here saying, apart Resolution 864, Dark Souls, I hate it. And then there's a whole load of other ones. There's The Sims, Ghost of Tsushima. There's Baldur's Gate 3, Stardew Valley. And then Horizon Zero Dawn. So all the usual suspects.
There's some hot takes in. They're not that hot takes. The usual suspects, as I say, like the internet gaming community coming up clutch there for some popular games to hate on. Like,
but those are the games that are universally loved that we hate. My 3 to recap was Super Mario 64, Control, and the Elder Scrolls of the franchise. What were your 3? Just to recap.
Resident Evil 4 Remake, Elden Ring, and Metal Gear Solid 2. Never thought I would say that, but there we are. Here we are.
Absolutely wild. Cardinal Smith's going to be livid. You're lucky he's not in the country. He'll make that drive down. But yeah, so why don't you, the listeners, tell us what is the game that everyone loves that you hate? And my voice is going, so let's get to the wrap up section. That is it, Tomahawk. Another episode all wrapped up. And I'm not going to lie, it was nice not having a challenge game this week, but I think I said over the weekend, I miss having a challenge game.
We did, but we've discussed a lot of games and a lot of games in depth there as well. So like easily about nine or so games that we've actually had a good long conversation about. So you're welcome, everybody.
Yeah. I thought this would have been a really short episode. Apparently, we hate these games with an absolute passion. So it is. So just to recap my question of the week for the listeners, because my voice was going pretty bad there. Why don't you tell us in the comment section below, what is the one game everyone loves that you hate, and why do you hate it? It doesn't have to be a paragraph, it could be a sentence. Because the game sucks is a appropriate response, and we will accept that. But yes, but now that that's all done, we are officially in the side quest, Tom. No more challenge games unless someone wants to play it. That's all I'm saying. We do have some big episodes coming up. Plus, we're getting into the scary season.
Ooh, yes.
And next week's side quest isn't a side quest, folks, because it's the last Monday of the month, which means it is Game of the Month time. And of course, we will be deep dive reviewing Gran Turismo 7 with Cardinal Smith. So that's something to look forward to. So just to recap all the housekeeping, if you want to give us a 1-star to 5-star review, whatever you think we're worth, that's what you give us. Make sure it's 5. If you want to give us a written review, that's even better. And if you want more content from us throughout the week, highstakes.com is the place to get that. And if you want to support us, the best way of doing that is sharing the podcast with a family member or a friend that you think will enjoy it. And with all of that being said, this feels like the world's shortest wrap-up section, but it's getting very, very, very late. I've been Mr. Lava. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. Thanks for listening. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.